This
Okay, guys,
conference will now be recorded.
we have a very interesting topic today, or emergence of oil industry in Azerbaijan, Baku. But before that, I want to ask you a few questions from the previous class. If you remember, so Russian occupation of Azerbaijan, yes. So immediately after the Russian occupation of Azerbaijan, they resettled some nations to Azerbaijan, yes. Which nations were resettled to Azerbaijan territories after the Russian occupation? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, which nations? Can you please tell me?
Was it Karabakh?
Yeah, no, territories. Yes, you are right. They resettled the Christian population to Karabakh, Iravan, and Nakhchivan. Yes, especially which nation? Russians?
Armenians and Russians and Germans.
Germans, yes, of course. Yes, am I right? Okay. So you are right, guys. By doing that, what happened? They, of course, they gained support from the Christian population in Azerbaijan to implement their own imperial policy to keep Azerbaijanis under their own control. But of course, that's why how we can when we think about the Armenian population in Karabakh today, it becomes clear why Armenians today have claim to Karabakh, yes, mountainous part of Karabakh. Because why? Because before the Russian occupation, there were negligible amount of Armenians living in Karabakh, but Russia intentionally resettled the Armenian population to Karabakh, and they changed ethnic composition of region on behalf of Armenians. Yes, that's all. Okay, good. I just want to talk about Azerbaijan's oil industry. Have you ever heard about Azerbaijan oil industry? Baku is very famous in the world in terms of oil production. Yes, Azerbaijan was the richest country in 19th century in oil production. Okay, have you heard about first oil well? Where was oil drilled in the world? First oil well, oil field.
Was it like in like Saudi Arabia or something, or Azerbaijan, or I don't know. Oh, I don't really know. I just know where there is oil.
Yes, first oil well actually was drilled in Azerbaijan in Baku, but if you look at, let's say that in Wikipedia, most probably it says the US was the first place where first oil well was drilled by Edmund Drake in 1859, but I think it is not correct because approximately 11 years before, Russian researchers had already drilled the first oil field in Baku. Okay, I'll explain, yes, but let's go one by one, step by step. So, because we need to understand why Azerbaijan, so not why Azerbaijan, but how Baku's oil industry appeared in the second half of 19th century. So, as you know, we are talking about the period when Azerbaijan was under occupation of Russia, yes? Ayhan, am I right? Yeah? Do you remember? Yeah. Russia. What time Russia occupied Azerbaijan? At the beginning of 19th century, yes?
Yeah.
Do you remember? So Turkmenistan and Gulistan treaties. So as a result of Russia and Iran war, they divided Azerbaijan territories between themselves, and the northern part of Azerbaijan remained under Russian occupation, and southern part under Iran occupation, yes? But we are talking about northern part of Azerbaijan, Russian occupation of Azerbaijan. So When Azerbaijan was under Russian occupation, at the beginning, oil industry was not so much important because of the lack of interest by the Russian government to develop this industry in Azerbaijan. Yes, there was oil in Azerbaijan, but it was not important. Why? Because of the lack of the demand for oil. Yeah. Why do you think there was a lack of demand for oil at the beginning of Russian occupation of Azerbaijan territories?
There
At the
weren't a lot
beginning
of cars.
there wasn't machines, yes, let's say technical innovations, let's say, yes. So that's why oil was not so much important at that time, at the beginning of 19th century. But over the years, of course, many innovations were made in the second half of 19th century. For example, first cars appeared in Europe, and so some steam engines, let's say, some other innovations made increase the importance of oil, yes, in the world. So that's why Russia also started to show interest to develop oil industry in Azerbaijan. Melis, do you hear me? You are silent today. Very silent today.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, do you understand? So I'm talking about oil industry, yes?
Yes.
When Azerbaijan was under Russian occupation, at the beginning, oil was not so much important. Why? Because of lack of the demand in the world. But later, so the oil became much important because of the technical innovations happening in the world, such as machines.
So oil wasn't that popular in the world because
of lack of the demand for oil.
Oh.
It's because there was not.
Is it because there wasn't like machines or
Yes, machines, cars. Most of the factories they just used steam engine for generating machines, let's say, yes. But later they realized that oil was effective way to generate, let's say, the machines or technical facilities, equipments, let's say. And especially after the discovery of my first cars, let's say diesel, let's say, for example. Okay, anyway, so so if I ask you, yes, let's say that you are asked question, why Azerbaijan oil industry emerged in the second half of 19th century? Because of the what? Because of the demand for the oil increased in the second half of 19th century, especially Russia. It's because Russia wanted to develop their own industry. They needed Azerbaijan's oil, yes. So then they started to develop Azerbaijan's oil industry, but also, of course, it was also beneficial for us. Although it was Russia, served to the interest of Russia, but at least we also benefited from that, yes. Okay, let me to open my presentation. Lesson 20. It's our 20th lesson. Good. So my first is, where was the first oil? Where was the first oil well was drilled in the world? It's usually said that it was US and Pennsylvania, yes, but it's not, guys. They just manipulate the information. So it first oil well, guys, was drilled in Baku in 1848 by the Russian researcher Semyonov in Bibeybat village of Baku. Yeah, I'll show you some old pictures and old photos to explain the topic. Yes, please look at carefully. This one is the first oil field. You see, modern version. It's museum right now in Baku. The first oil field was drilled in 1848 in Bibeybat village of Baku. They used primitive methods to extract oil from the ground at the beginning, guys. As you see, yes. I mean, how can I say? the primitive methods, so by hand. They drilled oil fields by using their hands, mechanical way. Yes, there was not still technical innovations at that time. Okay, significant change in oil production because of the demand in Russia. Of course, significant progress happened in Azerbaijan oil production as well. And later, Russia started to build or how can I say, plants to produce the oil. So the development of oil industry in Baku, guys, also attracted foreign investment to Baku's oil industry. Many people around the world, they came to Baku for working in oil industry, to be also, especially foreign companies. It attracted many companies' attentions. For example, famous Noble brothers. Have you ever heard about Noble brothers, guys? Noble brothers, Rothschild family, Rockefellers, Melech. Have you ever heard about them? Noble brothers. At least there is a Noble.
No, I haven't.
Really? But Noble brothers say they are very famous because there is also reward, Nobel reward. Nobel grant.
Isn't it called the Nobel Prize?
Yes, Nobel brothers. Yes, Nobel Prize. You're right.
Is it like whoever does like the coolest like invention kind of gets a bunch of Swedish money and like a badge or something?
Yes, these guys, they came to Baku in 19th century and built their own business in Baku, an oil business in Baku. Yes, before that they were producing dynamite, but later they came to Baku and set their own business here. Why? Because oil business, oil industry was new in the world. Baku was the first place in the world producing oil, development of oil, and that's why they show interest to set their own business in Baku. This was first. If I ask you what was the first foreign company invested money into Baku's oil industry, it was Nobel brothers. Yes, as you know, there is also Nobel Prize. So it's so the second company was famous Rothschild family, represented France capital. So and English banker Goodbart. So you see, Nobel brothers, France capital, and as well as the United Kingdom representative Goodbart, they put investment into Baku's oil industry. Why, guys, do you think they came to Baku? Malish, why do you think they came to Baku? For example,
there are good job opportunities in oil.
But how because oil was a new industry in Baku, yes, but how they predicted that they would become rich if they, let's say, if they would set their own business in Baku, because oil business was new and no one would expect to get to be such extent rich as a result of putting investment in Baku's oil. Let's say that you are business lady, yes, and you want to set your own business, which is very new, and no one actually had attempted to build such a business. Yes, do you think that it would be how can I say, effective business, or can you be rich or no? What do you think? If it is new business, or let's say you don't have competitors, yes, you don't have rivals because it is new business, yes, of course you can be rich, yes, because it is new business, you have competitors and rivals. So it is the same thing when they put investment into Baku's oil industry. They did not have many rivals, so that's why they became rich. But when it comes to the US, United States at the time, guys, of course, oil industry was developing in the United States as well. Baku was competing with United States in oil production. But of course, share of Baku was greater than US. So, and the oil production was in the Pennsylvania, in the United States. It was mainly controlled by the Rockefeller family, but they never came to Baku, guys. Baku oil industry was controlled by Noble brothers and the Rothschild family and English banker Goodbart. Did you understand what foreign investment part? Why they showed interest to Baku's oil industry? Because it was new and there was no competitors in oil industry of Baku. Okay, anyway. So guys, you see, I have put the foreign capitals invest in Baku's oil industry in the 19th century. First one were Noble brothers, second one French Rothschild brothers, and English banker Goodbart. So guys, you see title, the largest oil producer in the world. At the end of 19th century, Baku's oil industry ranked in the first place in the world in terms of total oil extraction. Even it was bigger than United States. For example, Baku produced 11.5 million tons of oil in a year, but this number was only 9.1 million tons in the United States. So, I mean, Baku was the largest oil producer in the world at the end of 19th century, in 1899 and 1901. Did you understand? What state was it? As Baku was competing which state at that time in oil production icon? Which state was a rival of Baku's oil industry?
Is it US?
US, yes, you are. And which part of the US oil industry was developing at the beginning? Pennsylvania, yes. Rockefeller family, they control oil industry in the United States. Okay. So, but besides foreign investment, we had also our local businessmen, so let's say the entrepreneurs, such as oil magnates. Let me to write in chat, oil magnates, oil magnates. And before that, I just want to share one video with you, to watch one video with you. Let me to share. Where was it? Yeah, guys, it's just 1 minute. Can you please watch it? Let me to share in chat. And then in the middle of the 19th century. Okay, please watch it and I'll ask a question from the video, okay? It's just 1 minute, not long. In the middle of the 19th century, the Tsar legalized land ownership in Baku, so no longer had the state in control, but motive. And famous around the world, and people came from everywhere trying to earn money, and it the world. In 1901, was produced in Baku. Anywhere else, Have you watched, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Manage. Can you please tell me? So, what did you understand from the video? Why, although Russia was a poor country, yes. And oil Russia. 1 minute, please. Yes. Although Russia and Azerbaijan was very poor country, yes, one of the backwards region of the world, yes. But why Azerbaijan and Baku was so rich and why attracted many people to Baku?
Because of oil.
Because of the oil production.
But how?
And
How it worked? I don't understand.
Nobel brothers came.
Because yes, but no. Why it? So why only Baku, not all of Azerbaijan? Because do you understand why only Baku was the rich, not as a part of Azerbaijan, as a part of Azerbaijan? Because of only oil.
Because
But why
that's
they
where
didn't?
the oil factories were.
Yeah, I know, but because of the Azerbaijan, for example, Russia did not put investment coming from the oil to develop other industries in other part of Azerbaijan, which is only focus on Baku. But they could, for example, today, yes, Baku oil industry is located in Baku, but the Azerbaijan government also put investment to develop other regions of Azerbaijan as well. I don't know answer that question actually. I just wanted to ask you. If it was can you predict what would be answer for this question? Maybe the answer is that maybe oil industry was not under the control of the government. Yes, it was mainly ruled by what? It was mainly controlled by foreign investment, the private business. Yes, not by the government. If you listen to the video at the beginning, it was saying that government removed the control over the oil fields. Yes, did you watch that part? Yes, government removed the control over the oil fields, and everyone were free to purchase oil fields and they set their own business. I mean, the oil industry was not under the government's control. That's why they didn't put investment to the development of other regions, I think. Okay, that's so. Have you ever heard about Hajin Abdul Tagiev? No, guys. If I'm not mistaken, a few months ago, Azerbaijan government constructed a statue for Hazi Abdul Tagiev in one of the public places, let's say in Baku. Hazi Abdul Tagiev, yes, he was famous philanthropist, Azerbaijani oil businessman, the local businessman, not in foreign businessman. Yes, he was the local businessman. And there were few Azerbaijani local businessmen in oil production as well. They were negligible. The number of them were negligible, but of course, we had also some local businessmen in oil production. One of them was Haji Abdul Tagiev, guys. He is he's very well-known person in Azerbaijan history. Why? He was not only oil magnate, oil businessman, but also he was philanthropist. Do you know what's a philanthropist, Jalil? Philanthropist.
I don't know.
No, philanthropist is a person. He is rich and usually supports some charity programs, charity projects. For example, he helps poor people. He helps the students coming from the poor family to get their education. And Hadzin Tagiev was a philanthropist. Yes, he was not only a rich man, he was also a philanthropist because he gave his money to poor people, and he did a lot of charities in Baku, constructed schools and opened schools, theaters, and constructed the first water pipeline to Baku. He did many things for the benefit of the people in Baku, yes, it's with his own money. He didn't get support from the government. He just use his own money. He opened many workplaces for poor people, textile factory, many factories, yes. So just look, guys, Hajam Taghi was coming from the poor family at the beginning. Can you please read this short text? Let me to find that. Yes, this one. You have 3 minutes. Can you please read this short text? I'll ask questions.
Was Gepik like a lot at the time?
Yeah, yes, you're right. So, for example, sterling in the United Kingdom. Am I right?
Is that P like pence?
Coins.
Yeah, coins.
But coins, but it's a unit of money, yes. For example, pound sterling and sterling, yes. What is it? Sterling. Pounds, yes. If I'm not mistaken. In United Kingdom.
Sterlings are a different currency used in the Victorian period, along with pounds and half pounds and stuff like that.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Good.
Can I tell you what happened?
No.
So, guys, he was poor, yes. He was coming from poor family, and
Yeah.
but yeah, when he reached 15 years old, so he just purchased oil field. He had collected money. Look, he had collected money while working as an assistant of the stone master, and he collected money and purchased oil field. Suddenly, his oil field crashed and fountainated, and he became rich, one of the richest men in the Azerbaijan, not only Azerbaijan, in Russia. Yes, but why we usually appreciate in Azerbaijan? So we have many millionaires in Azerbaijan at that time. Why? But Hacı Abdul Taghi is important for us, guys. Especially he was important for us. Is important actually.
Because he built a lot of like schools and like he donated money and stuff.
Yes, because of his charity jobs. Yes, charity works. He yeah.
Did he
Yes.
donate it
You want
because he was poor and he
yes.
didn't want other people to be poor as well?
Yes, you are right. Excellent. For example, the water pipeline, which we today in Baku, guys, yes, which we even we today use, which is called
What
Shoulder.
time
Yes,
is it?
19th century,
Okay.
approximately more than 100 years ago.
What was he Muslim?
Yeah, of course, he was Muslim. Yes, you are right. So Azerbaijan was a Muslim country, although Azerbaijan was under Russian occupation. Yes. So, but he got huge profit from the oil business. Yes, but he also donated some portion of his money to the poor people. Yeah. So one of one of his greatest job was he opened the school for the girls. You know, at that time, guys, the parents did not allow their girls to get education in Azerbaijan. You know what Aziz Abdul did? He just opened the school for girls, and he even talked to their parents to send their students to send their children, girls, to the school. Even he was under the attack of the parents. Sometimes they wanted to kill him. Why you try to drag our girls to the school? Yes, people were very old-minded at that time. They did not want to see their girls getting education. Yes, do they understand? Malaj, especially for you. Girls' school, yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes, and I think what I didn't talk. So you see, this is the first railway station in Baku. They constructed by Noble Brothers in Baku. First pipeline. I have put all the old photos. And what else? This is the first tanker ship in Baku carrying oil to Zoroaster. It was called Zoroaster. First ship in Baku. Yes, it carried the oil. Yeah. So rapid growth of Baku, guys. So Baku is the city in the world even today, guys. Why? Because it is its famous historical monuments, old style of the city, and all these architectural styles appeared in the 19th century as a result of the development of oil industry. So as the industrial development of oil fields caused the rapid growth of Baku, guys. Baku reached to the point of the development even compared to the most advanced cities of that time, such as London, Paris, yes. So architectural style, there were many buildings constructed in Baku with how can I say that? Baroque style, neoclassical style, I mean the European styles, yes. The people compared Baku to the Paris. They called Baku Paris of the Caucasus. Why? Because of its architectural style. It was the richest city. It was one of the richest cities in the world, guys. Azerbaijan was very poor, but only Baku was one of the biggest and the richest city in the world. Why? Because of the oil. All these buildings, which I have put here, their photos, yes, constructed in 19th century. Yes, many rich people living in Baku, they were they were competing with each other to construct the buildings. In the Baku. So most of the rich people, most of them were residents of people. In 19th century later, government took control of these buildings. Okay, he brought first car to Baku in 19th century. First car, it is old photo of Baku. Yes, you see, made in tower. And that's all, guys. Did you understand topic?
Yeah.
I hope yes. Good. So let's say that you are asked question, how oil industry appeared in Baku? What would be your answer? What time the oil industry appeared in Baku? Ayhan.
Was it the 18th?
No, 19th century. In the second half of 19th century. Yes, in between 1850s and 1990s. 1900. So it first appeared in Baku. Bibihibat, the first oil well was drilled in Baku. Yes. And why oil industry attracted many foreign investments to Baku? Because it was new and the first oil industry in the world. Oil was a profitable business. That's why many people invested into Baku's oil business. Yeah. Even today, guys, in the center of Baku, there is a street.
Can I ask something?
Which bears, yes.
Was the oil like vegetable oil?
Yeah, vegetable. What do you mean vegetable? As far as I understand, you mean
what type of oil?
Oil is the product. So how can I say? So for example, you produce gasoline from that or petroleum. Yes, petroleum. Of course, petroleum. Not for the domestic purposes, just industrial purposes. It was extracted from the ground, not from the plants.
Okay.
Oil production.
Thank you.
Of course. For example, Azerbaijan today is Azerbaijan one of the world's main oil producer here, even today, because we get huge profit from the oil and natural gas. Yes. So even there is a pipeline from Azerbaijan to Italy. Azerbaijan provides European countries with a natural gas. Yes, you see, Azerbaijan. Why Azerbaijan? Why Baku is developing today? Because of the oil. But how we won over the Armenians in Second Karabakh War? Because of the oil, we supplied our army with advanced weapons. Yes, because of the money coming from the oil. Am I right, Khaled?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. Let's answer questions. Can you please go to the Google Classroom? I have put several questions here. You need to answer them. I have put presentation as well. If you want to, you can use presentation material to answer questions, okay? Yeah, guys, I haven't talked about this part. Sorry, can you please listen to me 1 minute? Guys, before, at the beginning of emergence of oil industry, people just used mechanical ways to extract oil from the ground, yes, as you see from the photo, yeah. But later, new innovations, technical innovations, made it easy to extract oil from the ground, special steam engines. This kind of innovations, guys, it is called industrial revolution in oil industry in Azerbaijan. Yes, industrial revolution, technical innovations.
Why is there 2 USs?
Because there are 2 questions should be answered with US.
Okay, thank you.
What was the name? What was the name of the person who became a millionaire?
Who? I didn't understand you. Which question you mean?
Who was the person that became a millionaire because of a oil field?
But the answer is given. You can choose amongst them in the first column.
But what is his name?
Name Hajinabdin Tagiev.
Okay.
Tagiev.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Really? Good. You're very fast.
I'm not.
Good, good, good. Have you done?
No.
Okay, we are waiting.
I've only done 3.
Well, can you please tell me which question is it?
I've
Can you
done
please
1,
read
2, and 5.
1, 2, and 5? Yeah. 1 minute. Let me to open my press forward in lesson 20. Okay, 2 Nobel brothers and US architecture style was first. It just was compared to the city of our visitors in 19th century. Okay. First one. This was okay, let's go one by one. So for in the question A, let's say that yes, and also on the right side, Baku's oil architectural style was compared to the city of which city was it was compared? Visitors they nicknamed Baku as what?
Was it Paris?
Yes,
Yeah,
Paris. Yes, because Baku could be only compared to the most advanced cities, London and Paris at that time. But it was not only because of its development of oil industry, yes, become one of the richest city, but because it is architectural style, yes, because the buildings had been constructed in the same way, in the same style with the buildings in Paris, yes, with Baroque style, Baroque art style, or neoclassical style, Gothic style, or the European architectural styles. Yes. Let me to show you. Maybe you have seen this type of buildings in the United. Have you seen this type of buildings? Look. Where was it? Yeah, this one. Yeah, this type of architectural style. Have you seen? And the buildings,
Isn't that like the
London,
Victorian
let's say, or
style?
other. Really? Is it called Gothic style or Baroque style? I don't know what is the name of it, but
Maybe I
Western
think the
style.
pillars are like from like Georgian or something. Georgian style.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but one of the Western architecture style, yes. So guys, what I want to say, why the people, rich people, aristocracy living in Baku, they invited some architect from the European countries to come to Baku and construct buildings in Baku, yes. That's why they constructed same type of buildings in Baku as well. They had money and paid to architects. They invited Western architects to come to Baku and build buildings for them. Okay, question number 2. Between 1898 and 1901, Baku had produced more oil than which country?
Is it the US?
The US, yes, United States. So, which family?
Put the US.
Yeah, but which family was ruling the oil business in United States? Do you remember? For example, Azerbaijan oil fields were under the control of Nobel brothers and Rothschilds. But what about US? It was mainly controlled by Rockefeller family, Standard Oil Company. Standard Oil or Rockefeller family, yes?
Yeah.
In US. Question number C. The
Yes.
first
I
investment
didn't
which
get to do C.
into Baku, the first foreign investment which inflowed into Baku's oil industry was Nobel Brothers, guys.
Yeah.
Nobel. First one was the first they were producing dynamites, but later they put investment into Baku's oil industry in 1879. They came to Baku. They initiated oil industry in Baku, representing foreign investment in Baku. Okay, Ayhan, question number 4. Oh, I mean that's D. French capital in Baku's oil industry was represented by D. Ayhan.
Is the
Huh? Which
I
family?
put as the Paris.
Come on. I mean the family. Which foreign investment? Paris, not. Rothschild
I know
family.
what it is.
Yes, Malaj.
Is it the Rothschild family?
Rothschild family. I don't know. It's pronounced like Rothschild.
Okay.
But the first, yes, you're right. Jalil, technical innovations. No. Can you please answer this question? Technical innovation in oil production lead to what?
Industrial revolution.
Yeah. Do you know what is the industrial revolution from the United Kingdom's experience?
Yeah, so they created steam engines and like trains and stuff, so it was cool. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, production by hands is replaced by production by machines, yeah, especially generated by steam engines, discovered
Isn't it
by
like during the Victorian era in around the 18th century?
It wasn't in Victorian era, I think, before that, because Industrial Revolution ended in the middle of 19th century, started in the middle of 18th century, but maybe it ended with in the period of Victorian era, Victorian period. Ended, but the beginning of that it started in the middle of 18th century. So okay, good. So Malaj, technical innovation. He is an Azerbaijani national oil industry magnate. Do you know what's the magnate?
Oh, what?
Magnate. Magnate was a person.
Oh, yeah, the oil magnate. Yes, I know.
Yes. Yeah. Good. Oil magnate is a person rich and businessman. Let's say yes.
Yeah.
Philanthropist. He donated to many charity projects in Azerbaijan. Who was that person?
Was it the Nobel brothers?
Who? No, not Nobel Brothers.
No, I put that for E. Never mind.
So
I don't know.
Tagiev was the philanthropist. He donated.
I'm confused. Like how are you supposed to do the questions?
Which question you mean?
How do you do the questions? No, not that. Like, how do we do it? Because it's confusing.
Really? So 1 minute, please, Ayhan. Malek, look, we talked about him. Yes, Haziam Tagiev, great philanthropist. He donated money to poor people. He did a lot of charities.
Yeah.
Philanthropies and Haziam Tagiev. Even I mentioned that a few months ago, Azerbaijan government constructed a statue for him in one of the public places of Baku, center of Baku. Because he's an important person for us, and because of him and many poor students get education. And he opened school for the girls, and he opened a textile factory, provided many people with a job, and he brought water from the northern part of Azerbaijan to Baku. A lot of charities. Okay, good.
Okay, thank you then.
Ayhan, what was your question?
I'm like very confused on how to do the questions.
So the ends of the sentences is like one of the numbers.
Yes, you are right.
Aye.
You put one of the numbers in front of the letters and the spaces. Yes. So the world's first first tanker ship. I mean, that was what was the first world's first tanker ship carrying the oil? The Zoroaster. Yes.
Yeah.
Zoroaster. That was constructed by Noble brothers in order to make it easy to carry oil from one place to another place. Because before that, guys, just the workers carried oil on their shoulders, and yes, but how can I say? Of course, they use what is that in English? I don't know.
Is the next one Bibi Hey Bet?
Bibeybat, yes. The first oil well in the world was drilled in Bibeybat in 1848 in Baku.
And what's the last one? Is the last one the US again?
Yes, Baku competed with the US in oil production at the end of 19th century. All right. Good. Okay. Do you have any question? It's a really important topic to understand Azerbaijan history, because the modern history of Azerbaijan cannot be understood without understanding this period of Azerbaijan, especially emergence of oil industry.
I have a question.
Yeah, go on, please.
Like, so how did like people like get money from this? Did everyone just invest in it?
You mean what type of people do you mean? Just
like
ordinary simple people?
Yeah.
How did what I cannot understand. Can you please repeat your question?
So did the people in Baku, did they like all invest in it, and that's how they got like rich?
Not, of course, not all of them, because oil fields at the beginning were very expensive. Yes, that's only for those people who had money or collected money, like the Haji Abdul Taghi, managed to purchase these kind of fields. On the other hand, Jali, there was not guarantee if you purchase oil fields and you can become rich, because so for example, Haji Sinatin Taghi, when he purchased the oil field, yes, he didn't know
There wasn't
that
any like competition.
No, there was not, of course. So look, you know what is a gash, oil field gash or fountainade? Only those people became rich. Their oil fields, which they purchased, gushed. I mean that their oil fields fountainated, and oil started to be extracted. Yes, fountainated. Yeah. You understand what I mean? Fountainated. Sometimes,
Yeah.
for example, some people's purchase and they gave a lot of money for oil fields, but they couldn't extract oil because there was not oil in these fields. They couldn't extract, and of course, they went into the bankruptcy. Let's say that.
Also, what was the original purpose of oil?
Regional purpose in Russia, yes. First of all, Russia just used oil for in their factories and the plants. I don't know, for example, maybe railways, or they also use the oil. I don't know, many things, industrial purposes mainly. They used it.
Oh, okay.
It was for industrial purpose, nothing else. But right now we use oil for different purpose. Even our clothes, it has some ingredients coming from the oil. For example, when you heat oil in high temperature, you can get different products from that. You can get, for example, gasoline for cars. You can get naphtha is a kind of substance which is used in the production of the clothes. I don't know, style industry, different purposes.
Okay, that was my last question.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Malaj, Aykan, do you have any question?
No, we don't have questions. We do, I have a question actually. What would be the
I don't have a question.
Yeah, go on, please, guys. One by one, please. Aykan, first one, you.
what will be the next lesson?
Next lesson, I just want to talk about most probably nation formation process of Azerbaijan. For example, we didn't understand what was our nation, yes, until 19th century, yes. Whenever we were asked, what's your nation? We thought that we were Muslims. We couldn't know that what is our nationality. I'll talk about that in our next class. Yes, Melech, go on, please. Nation formation process.
I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah, I'll talk about nation building.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, of course, guys.
How did Azerbaijan get the oil?
How did Azerbaijan get oil?
Wasn't it like from the ground? Like.
Yes, of course. But at the beginning, there was no technical advancement, I mean, technical innovations. That's why people just used, they just extracted oil by hand. Yes, let me to show one picture about that. Look, by hand, mechanically, yes. Where was that? Yes, this one. Look, people just used extracted oil by using their hands. They extracted oil as well. Later, it was this type of extraction of oil used later replaced by innovations, steam engines. They use yes. Look, this is the first oil field. Extracted oil by hand, mechanically. Hand dig wells. It was called hand dig wells, guys, because the people use their hands to extract oil from the ground. It was very dangerous to the people's life, guys, because many people lost their life while extracting oil by their hands. But it was replaced by the machines in the second half of 19th century. You see, this is the Bibeybat, guys. This is old photo of Baku, Bibeybat. You see, no buildings, no houses, many houses in the central Baku. Okay, that's all. That's all for today. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.